Welcome once more to Pantro's Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I would like to say a very warm welcome to you. Today we are doing something very different. We are making kebab, but we are going to make it vegan. So we'll be using some tofu. Yes, absolutely delicious. Whilst we were in Ghana, my son happened to enjoy soya kebab, which is the same as tofu kebab. And so I've been trying to make it for him and for the rest of the family, and we've all been enjoying it. It is so simple, absolutely delicious. If you don't tell somebody it's not meat in there, they probably would not know. It is good, and I hope you try it. Come along with me and let's do some cooking. I have my tofu here, and it's extra firm. That way it's easy for you to cut and everything. I'm just going to open them up. It is stored in water, so you just want to drain the water from it. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the water. So when it's drained, this is how it looks like. I'll go ahead and do the same with this pack. So the tofu at this point still has some moisture. I'm going to try to get some out of it. I've folded a paper towel 3 times over, placed my tofu on it, added another layer of paper towel, and then I'm going to press this down with a heavier chopping board. Onto it, I place a rolling pin. You can put something better. This was a little bit wobbly, so you want to put something that is a little heavier to weigh down on your board and then to be able to squeeze some moisture out of your tofu. I'm going to let this sit for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes later, this is what we have. Paper towels soaking wet. So you can tell already that some of the moisture has come out of it. Yes, I'm going to set that aside. You can tell the tofu has gone down a little bit. It's not as thick as it used to be. And that should tell you some of the moisture has come out. And look at that paper towel it's sitting on. Let me squeeze it so you see how much liquid came out of it. Yes. Now that we've extracted some more moisture out of our tofu, we are going to go ahead and cut it up. So I'm going to cut them into strips lengthwise like this. I think I'm going to go for 5 strips. You want to cut it to be the thickness that you want it to be. And now I'm going to bring these strips together and cut across to get some cube or rectangular like shapes, just like this. These are perfect sizes for me, and like I said, you can make them into whatever size you prefer. And as you can clearly see, it has very little moisture. This is going to be perfect for what we are going to do with it. I'm going to go ahead and place my cut up tofu pieces in my bowl, and then I'll cut up the other block before we go ahead and marinate them. So tofu is made out of soya bean. It is very rich in protein, or has a high protein content, and so it's very, very good for people who are vegan to use as a meat substitute. And so it's all cut up now. I'm going to go ahead and season. First, I have some paprika. And as you may find out, this is the most seasoning I've put on anything. Remember, this is not meat, so you want it to be very well seasoned. I have some all-purpose seasoning going on as well. Onion powder. Some black pepper. Garlic powder. Some salt, and I'm using Himalayan pink salt now. So if you're wondering why it is pink, it's just salt. Some ginger powder, and a little bit of mustard powder. Like I said, this is the most seasoning you see me put on anything, because this is not meat. I'm not going to steam it or cook it before I fry. So I'm just trying to get it as well seasoned. You want this to turn out tasting like meat. And I'm telling you, Andy loves this. So if I'm making it, I want to get as close to it as possible. The person that sells the one we ate in Ghana actually makes the tofu from scratch with her soybeans. And so she gets to put some ingredients in before she presses it down and then goes ahead to continue with the frying and everything else. So since I'm doing it this way, I want to make sure that it is very, very well seasoned. So I've just mixed everything up now, and I'm going to just let it sit for a while to marinate some more, and then we'll come back and fry. So I'm going to sit my tofu for about an hour, and after an hour, we are going to just go ahead and fry. You can do it overnight or however long you want it to be. I have my pan on fire. I'm going to pour in some cooking oil. I'm actually just going to be using some canola oil to fry and checking to make sure it's hot. As you can see, the skewer has a few bubbles on it that cling to it. That should tell you that your oil is ready to receive whatever you're about to deep fry. I'm going to just scoop my tofu chunks with all the seasoning on it right here into my oil and let it fry. I noticed that most of the seasoning comes off the tofu, but then you know what? It stays right here in the oil, and so all the flavor, aroma, all the goodness of all these ingredients are sitting right here in the oil. And of course, since it sat on the tofu for a while, some of it has seeped inside, so it's going to end up coming out perfect. You want to fry this until your tofu is golden. You don't want it to be extremely dry, because after this you're also going to have it continue to cook just a little bit more in the oven with the vegetables on it. So you want to make sure it is golden, beautifully fried, so it looks close to meat, but please don't overcook it. Delicious, yeah, delicious. Have you been done? The tofu is perfect and ready to come out of the oil when it's this golden. Absolutely beautiful. It smells amazing. And of course, I know it's going to taste good already. So I'm just going to transfer it into a strainer or colander with a bowl on the bottom just to catch any excess oil that will drip out of it. At this point, if you were making some stew and you wanted to make it meatless, you could just go ahead and use your meat, which is your tofu, to go into it. You could use some of this oil to be the base of your stew. It's going to end up being just so delicious. But we are going to go ahead with the plan for the day and make our kebab, because that's what we set off to do. And even though we are trying to get distracted, we will stay on track. So I have all my tofu fried now, and just look at that. It's crispy on the outside, soft. It looks almost like chicken. It's like chicken breast here. And now I'm going to let that cool off. And in the time being, I'm going to cut up my vegetables, which is going to go on the skewer with the tofu to make our kebab. Delicious. Delicious. Can you smell the aroma? She was kitchen, yeah. Delicious, yeah. Delicious, delicious, yeah. Delicious,
delicious, yeah, yeah, delicious, delicious, yeah, yeah, delicious, delicious.
So veggies are all cut up and prepped. Now we reach the exciting part. So in a bowl, I'm going to add some suya spice, about 4 teaspoons of that. Suya spice is the same as kebab pepper. To that, I'm going to add some peanut oil. So peanut oil is what typically kebab makers put on kebab. So actual beef kebab, goat meat, whatever. So you want to get that vibe. So I'm just going to mix in my peanut oil or granite oil. I have just a little bit left. What I poured in is not enough. It's thick. I want my mixture to be a little bit thin. So I'm just going to go ahead and drain out my bottle. Get the last bit of it in here as well. I think this is just perfect. Mix that in here. This is the consistency you want to achieve. And since my meat is not that much, I'm just going to throw everything in here. I keep saying meat because meat is so much stuck in my head. So of course it's my vegan meat. So my tofu is going to go in here now, and I'm going to just mix it all in just like that. So they are all coated with our suya spice and our peanut oil, just like this. And now that that is all covered, we are just going to go ahead and assemble our kebab. I'll be using these skewers. I like to use them because they're a little thicker and helps for whatever you put on to hold up and not roll around. I'm going to start arranging my ingredients on it. I dipped it in water, not really soak it, because our meat is not going to stay in the oven for too long, and most importantly because it's not going directly on the grill. So I'm just going to arrange an onion, a shade of pepper, tofu, then back to onion, another shade of pepper, and tofu until our stick is full. So I'm just going to put 3 pieces of tofu with the 3 different colors of peppers and onions on it. You can arrange it definitely any way you want, but you can tell where we're going with the colors, okay? Red, gold, green, always. So our very first one is done. How gorgeous is that? How beautiful. Yes, it's just so catchy to the eye. You just want to eat it when you see it. I'm going to line them up here on a baking sheet and continue to arrange everything until everything is done.
Delicious. Delicious. Can you smell the aroma? Yeah. From Kwachiwa's kitchen. Yeah. Delicious. Yeah, yeah. Delicious. Delicious. Yeah, yeah. Delicious. Delicious.
So now that all our ingredients are arranged beautifully on the skewers, we are going to go ahead and apply some suya spice or kebab pepper. We are doing this just like you would with regular meat kebab. So just sprinkling some more suya spice. Even though we have a little bit of it coated on this, you want it to taste like suya, okay? So that when somebody eats it, they really can tell. So there we go. We're trying to get some of that suya on the veggies as well, just so they have some flavor on it. I've preheated my oven to 370 degrees. I'm going to just spread out my skewers just like this. So I have one layer of them, and that way they can cook faster whilst in the oven. So it's going to go in the oven for about 15 minutes. That is going to allow the suya to just dry up a little bit, the veggies to get a little bit cooked, or there's some char on it, just like, you know, on the grill. And at this point, it's ready to be served. So I'm just going to arrange everything on a platter, and just like that, you have your meatless kebab, okay? Your tofu kebab, your soya kebab is ready. It smells amazing in here. It smells like I cooked some meat in here, but this is the perfect meat substitute, okay? Even if you're not vegan, we want to also try and go a little bit easy on the meat, and this is the perfect way to have your protein without necessarily eating some meat. Now let's just check this out. Check it out. Look at that. Look at that. It is just so good on your taste buds. I know you are going to love it. If Andy loves it, trust me, many people are going to love it. So do give it a try. We served this with jollof and it was so good. Kindly give me a thumbs up and share. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.